Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
That's right.
Brittany Howard.
Brittany,
Yay.
you don't even realize you just scared the shit out of the room.
You
Because
just
we
got here from
already were
London.
contemplating whether we should have guests or not.
Oh, really?
Okay, because of the coronavirus.
Oh.
And you just telling us you came from out of the country?
I'm clean. Trust me.
You sure?
She said, trust me.
You just came from London. They just banned all travel from the UK.
Not from
No,
the
they
UK,
didn't.
not from London.
They didn't?
No.
Not from UK.
Oh, I thought it
From
was
other
Europe.
European nations.
American
Okay.
citizens can come home.
Got you.
Yeah, don't
got
listen to anything that man was saying. He don't know what he's talking about.
He don't even know what's
So you
going on.
good, though?
What you talking about?
You good?
I'm good.
You ain't cough.
Nah, no coffee.
All right, making sure.
I'm
All right.
good. Got my matcha. I saged myself. Everything. Palo
All right.
Santo,
You saw Desi. Now you talking.
everything.
That right?
But you want to tour till June, though, right?
None, you know,
You don't know yet?
we got some announcements to make.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. You got to take those
But do
precautions.
you think
Well-
do you think they should be canceling the shows? How do you feel about that? As an
Yeah, I
artist
think
performer?
we have a responsibility as entertainers, getting a large group of people together, really, really close proximity to each other, breathing on each other, everything like that. I think we have a responsibility to cut that stuff out right now at this
Yeah.
moment in time.
That's
I
good
will-
because you're not thinking about money. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Yeah.
can't use money dead. You know
That's
what
a
I'm saying?
fact.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Well, Brittany, I'm glad you're here to talk about music with us this morning because you were in the group, one of the founding members of Alabama Shakes.
That's right.
And it's interesting to me because I feel like we talk about this a lot, right? About genres of music and how people act like, okay, you can't be in a rock band or you can't be a country singer if you don't look a certain way. And for you, as a woman who is biracial, you're black and white, and you were the lead singer of the group. Did you encounter a lot of issues with where your music would get played when people saw you like, oh, that's what she looks like? Was that ever an issue?
This whole thing has been real interesting, to be honest with you. I mean, I think me being a different looking figure at the head of a rock band or whatever you want to call it has worked out for me. Because it's like clickbait, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's, like,
Let me hear
who's this? It works for me. Yeah. Have I encountered anything? I mean, probably, but I don't pay any attention, really.
How did you get into rock and roll? How did you get into rock?
Is it rock and roll though? Like what genre would you classify Alabama Shake?
It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit of everything. It's
Yeah.
really hard to. It's also like, to me, it's kind of a moot point to try to classify everything. That just I understand that human beings want to put everything in the boxes and figure everything out, but that's not really how I work. I think it's a lot more fun just mixing it all together because, as for me, like you asked how I got into rock and roll, I just like anything that made me feel any type of way. If I wanted to dance, it made me want to cry. I'm into that because it was something sincere that I was listening to, and that's what I digested. That's what I learned how to make music from. So I started at a really young age listening to all kinds of music, like when my grandma like doo-wop music or old James Brown records or I don't know, you could really name it. Went to high school, started listening to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and stuff, and I noticed that, oh, the drummer, he's got rhythm, he's on the beat, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, this kind of music is not just for white people. Because when I was growing up, that's what a lot of my cousins, my black cousins, were telling me, like, oh, you like that white music and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know. Something about it is good, though. You should give it a chance, you know?
No, black people are the originators of damn near every form of music anyway.
I mean, I know that.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I believe. But yeah, it started in high school, you know. Started with Pink Floyd, actually. I mean,
And your sister, too, was a big influence for you as far as music. She taught you how to do a lot.
yeah, man, my sis, her name is Jamie. Yeah, I named the record after her. She taught me how to just use my imagination. Because when we were growing up, you know, I grew up in a trailer park in Athens, Alabama. So my family didn't...
Single wide, double wide?
Single wide.
I had a single wide too.
Yeah.
Moncks Corner, South Carolina.
All right.
Yep.
So you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We didn't have a lot, but my mom made our house look like a home. And we got to play outside all day. My sister would show me how to use my imagination. And that was, I mean, that was everything. It's not like, you know, children today where they got to have all the devices to stay entertained. Like, you could just throw us in the woods and we'll figure something out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was the best.
It was the best. Yeah.
Why was it important for you to honor your sister with this album?
Just like a thank you, you know, because I truly do believe just because someone is not here physically, that doesn't mean they're not still here with you. And I feel like my sister's been watching me grow up all this whole time and guiding me, staying with me, and still providing for me, providing inspiration and creativity in times where I just don't think I had any. And so this is just my way of honoring that and saying thank you. You know, I see you, I feel you.
How therapeutic is that?
Sorry?
How therapeutic is that to put it in the music?
I think it took me a long time to be able to say her name, my sister's name, and my family too. Because it took us a long time to grieve that or to know how to grieve that. Because in my household, we didn't go to therapy. We didn't really talk about our feelings. That wasn't something they knew how to do. My parents knew how to do. So I think I took it upon myself to go to therapy and to be like, why do I have this blockage around this situation in my life? And then once I started healing that, I realized I had a whole lot to say, and then I made this record. So I feel like the therapy kind of took place before, and then I released my record, and kind of in a way, my record actually had a lot of healing effects on my parents.
Does it open up those wounds for you again? Because it's like you're revisiting that pain all over again?
Nah, man. I feel like set free when I'm doing these songs.
Your parents ended up getting divorced, right, after your sister passed. Was it pretty much a result of them not being able to handle that or know how to deal with it?
I think they probably should have been divorced before. They're very different people. But my sister got sick, so they needed to stay together.
And she had retinoblastoma?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Retinoblastoma.
And what is that for people that don't know? Because I didn't know until I read your story.
It's a cancer that starts in your eye,
Yeah.
behind your retina, and it just grows until it affects everything.
It's hereditary?
It is hereditary. Yeah. My father had it, and then my sister had it, and when I was a baby, I had it, but technology was different. Me and my sister were only 4 years apart, but in those 4 years, the technology grew so that, I'm still here.
Is there a way to catch it?
Yeah, now they can do it when the baby's still a fetus. I mean, they can just go in there and.
Wow.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms. Oh, it's a tumor.
Oh, it's a tumor? Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so how's the transition been for you to go from being in a band to having a solo project and being a solo artist? Because I assume that means you have to be a lot more personal and just really give a lot more of yourself when it's just you.
Yeah, that's a choice I made coherently. I was like, okay, I'm about to start something over again. After all this work I put in with this group, I need to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I need to make sure my intentions are set for when I'm going out here and doing this. And the whole point was to be vulnerable, was to be seen, was to let people get to know who I am. And that was the whole point, really. Just telling my story.
And you guys are all still good, though.
Oh, yeah, we're great.
Okay.
Those are my brothers. Those are my brothers for sure. I mean, like, when you think about it, Alabama Shakes, we all went to, like, the same school. And then we became an international band and won Grammy Awards and stuff. Like, that's crazy.
Right. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
How did the band come together?
It was me and my bass player, Zach. We used to jam all the time. I've been writing songs since I was probably 11 years old. And I was like, hey, I got this demo. And I gave this bass player my demo. He was like, all right, let's jam. So me and him started jamming. And then eventually we got, the guitar player. He heard our demo. He was like, hey, I'm going to help y'all get a show. I'll help y'all out. And then we got Steve, the drummer. He heard the demo, and he's like, I want to be y'all's drummer. And we just, we did like James Brown covers, Led Zeppelin covers, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Patsy Cline. We were just hitting everything we liked, which I think really inspired our style of music to have so much genre fluidity. But yeah, we just played one show. People liked us, and they paid me.
They're like, those kids are onto something.
Yeah.
Why the name Alabama Shakes?
We were called the Shakes.
Okay.
But then so is like 900,000 other bands.
Like shakes, like the shakes, like milkshakes?
Not like a milkshake. I guess like a dance.
Like they used to Harlem Shake in Alabama?
Yeah.
Hey.
Like Alabama's got one. That's it. That's it. There's no cool story.
Now, with you being a black woman, do you get? Is it receptive when you come down there doing rock and roll, or do people hate on it? Do people, not look at you because you are black?
They love it. I mean, I remember the first time. I'm also a guitar player, and I remember the first time I played "Let There Be Rock." It's like this really long, solo-focused AC/DC song, and we show up to this little bar in Tuscaloosa. And I start playing it. I'm doing a solo, and people had to look twice. Like, yeah, I'm playing it. Yeah, I'm playing a solo. This is me. I think it was something that was different.
Were you ever conscious of that growing up, like seeing other bands like a Bad Brains or Living Color and being like, okay, you know, it's good to see people like our people in these positions and see these bands making such great music? Because I feel like, you know, like I had a friend that did punk rock music, right? And I know you did Afro punk also, and I know that's a great experience. But she would say that because she was black, people didn't want to put her into that genre of like rock music or punk music. They would call it something else. Like they would classify her differently as a genre just because she was black.
How many years ago was that?
Maybe about 8 years ago.
A lot's
has
changed. Because
but you guys came out, you know, a
yeah,
while ago too. So you feel like for you personally, a lot has changed as well. in
yeah,
your
definitely.
experience?
I remember when I first started playing guitar, I wasn't seeing visuals of other female guitar players.
Right.
Now you can go on YouTube. It's like, look at this girl shred this. Look at this girl shred this on Instagram. These female drummers, it's everywhere. I love that.
Sheila E., that was my girl.
I'm saying, like, you know, we have very few people to look up
Right,
to.
that's why that was
Yeah.
my girl. I was like, look at Sheila E. I never even thought about that till I saw her as a drummer.
Right. I never thought about. I didn't even know girls could play guitar till I was 11 years old. I had this music teacher named Miss Mosley, and she came in and started playing like one of them Beatles songs, and she was good. And I remember my little brain was just like, I had no idea. That's what I want to do. I want to do that, and I stuck to it.
You're the only black member of Alabama Shakes and the only woman, right?
Yeah, out of the original members. Yeah.
How was that experience in the band?
You know what? I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Y'all came up together and went to school together, so.
I didn't think about it. Yeah, my school was pretty diverse too. I think our thing was just like we were all separated by are you broke or are you
Class.
rich?
Yeah,
it was more
yeah.
separated by money and not so much by race. At least where I was going to school.
You had the chance to jam out with Paul McCartney too, right?
Yeah, Paul McCartney,
Is there anything that could top that?
Prince.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Oh,
but I feel you, Prince.
Actually, it did happen.
Oh, you jammed out with Prince.
Prince.
I did jam with Prince. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Was it at his house?
It was at Paisley Park.
How was that?
It was the best day of my life.
Tell us about it.
I'll walk you through it. So
Please.
get
This
this
better
phone.
be as good as Charlie Murphy's.
Never mind.
You gotta tell us who else was there.
Tell us about it.
How it happened.
Walk us through
Did
it.
you
You're
play
gonna fuck my
basketball?
story up.
Walk us through it.
Okay, so we get this phone call. It was like Prince's assistant. He was like, yo, Prince wants y'all to come play Paisley Park. Can y'all make it happen? Yep. All right.
Word.
So the buses pull up. They're like, all right, no smoking, no cussing, no meat. We're like, okay, we're going to break all them rules, but feel you. I got you. So we go up to the room, and we're just sitting around. It's this huge complex. They were like building a stage, a motorcycle hanging from the ceiling, I think. Just a wild place. They were showing a children's movie on a projector. What was that movie? Anyways, so I was like, that's weird, but okay. So we go do our sound check and everything, and then this guy, hit Prince's assistant, was like, hey, Prince would like to meet you. And I was like, ooh. And guess who else heard it? The whole rest of the band. So like 15 of us are walking through his home, and we walked to this room that had purple carpet and this really strange 90s piano, really hot in there. And then all the walls are painted like a sky. And then we take a left, and there's just like this long hallway, and it's just got these like photos that have been printed onto wood that are different images of him throughout the years. It was like 1992, and he's like, you know, and then we take a right, and there's Prince. He's in the studio. He's wearing all beige, got like a little hoodie on, and I was like, hey, Prince. He's like, hey, how you doing? Real deep voice. I was like, I'm good. You know, I don't know what to talk to Prince about. So we're all in there, and everybody just kind of sitting there like, you know, nobody knows what to say. So I'm like a nervous talker, so I just started talking to him. I don't remember what I talked to him about. But I remember him being really funny. I remember him, I wouldn't say he was shy. I just say he's like real measured. You know, he just waits to speak. So he's like, I'd like to play on one of y'all songs. And I was like, really? What song? And he said, I want to play that song, Give Me All Your Love. Okay. What key's that in? F sharp. All right, I'm going to go work on something. I'm going to be out there. Okay. So it's time to do the show later, right?
Now,
So
who's at the show? Just random people or?
Yeah, they announced it, and then whoever showed up first got to get him.
Y'all left Paisley Park at this point.
No, we're still at
Still
Paisley.
at Paisley Park, okay.
We just like kind of just like waiting around, getting ready for the show. At this point, we're on the stage, we're doing the show. The show's going great. Room's full of people. Then the song comes up, and I'm playing it. Prince is nowhere to be seen. I was like, I know he did not just. I know he did not just bail on me. I'm up here looking so stupid. And then we get to the bridge section, and I knew that's where he was gonna come in. That's the best place for him to come in. So I'm just like, all right, I guess he ain't gonna come up here. That's disappointing. And then over to my right, he just pops on stage. He got a guitar on, got a green suit on, he got a guitar. He just starts ripping a solo. And I'm just like, everybody, the whole place just lit up. The whole place is just like, people are like, I can't believe it's Prince. And I can't believe it's Prince. And he's ripping the best solo I ever heard in my life. And then I'm like, I'm gonna double solo with Prince real quick. 'Cause this is probably the only time I could ever do this in my life. Me and him just double soloing. It was epic. And then he was done and the song was over. And he kissed me on the cheek. And he jumped off the stage into the darkness. Just like a little, just.
He disappeared, he vanished.
Yeah, like a nymph.
Is there video footage of any of those ever, or he didn't allow anything like that?
I do got some bootleg video.
So Brittany.
But now let's tell you about our Prince story.
Wait a minute though. Brittany, you ain't get no pancakes?
I played a little basketball, actually.
Play basketball.
I
Okay,
said you played basketball.
But not with Prince. Shut up, man. All right, no, listen. Okay, here's the next part of the story. Here's the next part of the story, though. So, I get on the bus, everything like that. We're about to roll out, and his assistant comes back up, and his name is Trevor, and he's like, "Yo, Prince he's on the phone. Somebody wants to talk to you." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'm on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, did you have a good time?" And I was like, "Yes, I did." I turned into like a little girl in high school. So it's like, "Yes, I had the best time."
It's amazing.
And he was like, "All right, keep an eye out in your emails because I'm gonna hit you up. I want to work with you." And I was like, "That's crazy." So hung up the phone. I checked my email every day until I found out he passed away. I checked the spam, the junk. I checked everything. I checked email addresses I didn't even give him. Yeah. So.
Well, at least you met him.
Yeah, I met him, played with him.
Played with him. That's a lifelong memory.
The fact that he even knew I existed.
Yes.
Is enough for me.
So people don't get paid for that though, right? You just go and do it.
Did we get paid?
I'm just curious because I know.
We got paid a little bit, like our expenses, because there was like 1,000 people.
Amazing. What a guy.
We have a Prince story. We met Prince too.
Ours is so irrelevant compared.
You want to tell them the Prince story, Charlamagne?
No.
He was up here at like 5 in the morning one morning, and
At 5.
yeah,
5 in the morning.
and somebody was like, "Yo, Prince is in the building." We like, Prince. So we put everything on automation, and as soon as we got to that door right there, he was walking down the hall with 2 old white women, and he came over, he spoke, he was very polite, and
Charlamagne was a little school
I
girl.
didn't know what to say
either,
just like you. So what came out of my mouth was, I grew up Jehovah's Witness too. And he
not
was,
even like a hello. He's like, I grew up Jehovah's Witness too.
That's fine.
Just like that.
And he was like, thank you.
Nice.
He was like, we got to talk about that one day. And then I asked him for a picture, and he was like, no, I don't take pictures. And he walked away, and I took a picture of him.
Even though he said no.
And he was floating. He was about this much off the ground. He had on a purple cape. I showed everybody in the room a picture of him floating. And about 10 seconds later, where that picture was in my phone, it was just black.
Disappeared.
I'm not making this up.
As crazy as that
There's
sounds.
no picture to prove it.
And I've seen him jump off the stage, like how you described. I've seen him jump off the stage and disappear. It was the weirdest thing ever. I promise you, he jumped he right off the front of the stage and just vanished. Like, what the fuck?
Same.
Now, you was going to name your solo album Black Bajork? Any truth to that?
Bjork.
Whatever the fuck.
Bjork.
The Black
Where
Bjork.
did you hear that?
It's a little research.
Nah, I wasn't gonna name it that, but that's cool though.
Oh, okay. All right.
He thought he knew something. Like, yeah, he got a little research, sir.
I like that. Maybe the next one, Black Bjork.
So what's your relationship with Terry Crews? Because the video "Stay High" is hilarious, just because he's on there singing the whole song. But what made you decide to do that? What was the thinking process behind that, and why Terry Crews for you?
Yeah, for me, it was just like I needed a man that looked masculine, like a man is supposed to look.
You didn't know me,
quote unquote.
You didn't know me at the time.
I didn't know you at the time. I didn't know Charlamagne at the time.
Yeah.
So I asked Terry Crews, back up.
Yeah.
And I wrote him this really long letter, and I was just like, man, I need somebody that reminds me of my father. Like, on the outside, my father, he looks unapproachable. He looks intimidating. But on the inside, he's just sensitive and jolly and funny. He's like a little boy. And when I'm watching your character and when I'm watching your interviews, that's how I see you. I see you as, like, on the outside, you could be misinterpreted. But on the inside, you're just, like, a really sensitive, giving dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote him this letter. And 30 seconds later, he's like, yeah, I'm in.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was really quick. and now I consider him a really good friend of mine. Working with him was amazing because he has the most patience I've ever met. of any celebrity I've ever been around. The dude worked like 12 hours all day. It was so hot. He was in this truck with no air conditioning. And then at the end, we were like, you know, kind of in the ghetto in Decatur, and everybody came out, and he took pictures with everybody. Never complained, nothing.
What did you think when you saw him get into it with Gabrielle Union a little bit?
I didn't see that.
True.
Good answer.
I get it.
Yeah.
How was it growing up biracial in Alabama?
Yeah, when I was first growing up, I didn't really have the concept of that people didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
It started kind of dawning on me the older I got. I just remember like certain kids couldn't come to our house, and I just thought it was because I grew up in a junkyard. So I was like, it's the junkyard. It's not because of that, you know, which is probably true too. But and I remember this little girl coming up to me in school, and she was like, my mom and daddy said that if you're mixed, that means something's wrong with you. So what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. Let me go ask my mom. So I go home and ask my mom. She was like, who the fuck said that? You know what I mean? Like, and she showed out at school. Yeah, which she should have. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It was like weird instances like that where I didn't really know what was going on until I got older. And then the older I got, the more I was hearing stuff that my parents always protected me from, you know, all those words and being at parties and stuff and not getting the respect that everybody should get. And it started dawning on me slowly, like, oh, it's still like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my parents did a really good job protecting me from racism.
How does that identity shape you, though? Because, you know, on one hand, you're black, so you deal with the oppression, the marginalization, the racism. Then on the other hand, you're white, but you got to hear the black people saying, oh, white people are all racist and evil. And, like, how does that, is there a struggle there? Or?
I wouldn't say it's a struggle. I just kind of understand. I have a unique perspective from where I'm standing. Mm-hmm. It's like, look, not all white people hate black people. Duh. Yeah. And not all black people hate white people.
Or I wouldn't be here.
But then I think if in my household I was shown something else, of course I would have a different belief system. Mm-hmm. But in my household, my grandma's my grandma, white or black. That's it. I don't think about it. And I think for me growing up, it was more shocking to learn what racism was still happening in the South and how close I was to it at all times without even knowing it. Because just because somebody's hanging out with me and they don't say the N-word in front of me, it don't mean they didn't say it 2 minutes before I got there.
That's real.
That's kind of like how it was.
Or they'll be like, oh, you're not this, but all the rest of them are.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Wow.
So you're also married. So how did you know your wife was the one?
That's a great question. Hold on, I better get this right.
Where did y'all meet?
That's right. She watching this.
Yeah.
Nah, she's asleep.
She'll watch it back later on YouTube.
She was like, have a good day. I don't know. Best, that's my best friend, so I think I'll just stick with that.
And how did y'all meet?
Through mutual friends. Yeah, through mutual friends.
Was it a spark the first time you seen her, or did it take some
No,
time?
I didn't like her the first time.
You didn't like her?
I'm gonna be honest with you. You flopping this question.
No,
right
I was
now.
like, it's okay. I tell her this all the time. When I first met her, I was like, this girl got an attitude. I don't think she likes me, and I don't like her either.
And that's intriguing, though.
That's when you really like somebody.
No, it's just like, head stupid. Are you wearing a cowboy hat? Yeah, so.
You said she had a cowboy hat on?
She had a cowboy hat
So
on.
when did that change?
Oh, yeah,
when did you say, okay, actually, I do like her?
Years later, just like hanging out, because we had a mutual friend and this musician named Becca Mancari. So that was Becca's friend, and I'm friends with Becca. So then when she moved back to town, we all kind of just had to hang out together and spend more time together. And then, you know, I was just like, oh, you turned out to be real cool.
Okay, see,
glad
first
you took that
impressions are
cowboy hat
sometimes
off.
wrong.
No, the cowboy hat is there forever.
Damn it, man.
It's just, sometimes you just got to love somebody for who they are, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd make you sleep on the couch after that answer.
No, I'll be all right. You should hear what she says to me. This is fine.
How did you know it was time to release a solo album?
You know what? I turned 30. I remember me and my wife were driving across the country. She was sitting over here in the city. We were tired of talking to each other at this point. So she looking out the window, and I turned the music down, and it's just silence. And we're driving through like Oklahoma or something, and it just feels just flat. I remember just like kind of being with my thoughts and thinking, what am I going to do after this? I've had such a wonderful trip. This has been so wonderful getting to see the country on my own terms and not having to do it from a tour bus or a van. And do I want to go back to doing all that? What do I want, And I asked myself, like, do I want to be singing these songs for the next 20 years? Or do I want to do something new and terrifying? I was like, yeah, I'll take that last option. New and terrifying, with no guarantee for success. That's what I decided to do. Because part of me was just so comfortable.
Right.
Everything was
It's a
good.
formula. Everything's working.
Everything was working, yeah.
That's the worst position to be in, right? When everything's working. And
Creatively.
you're comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, for me creatively. And of course, it had nothing, there's no hard feelings with my dudes. It had nothing to do with that. It was just more about just creative yearning to just like, I need to start over, and I need to know why I'm doing this. And I need to know why it's special to me.
Bishop T.D. Jakes said that, it's we put everything on 10, but after 10, it's another level. And it's 11, but it's really going back to 1. So he said you can't be afraid to go back to 1, because that's the next level.
I agree.
So do you do the solo album and then now you go back with your solo career and then go back and rejoin the group and you guys do another album, or what happens with that?
I have no idea. So that's a fun thing about my life. I never know what I'm going to do next. No, my manager got the plan. My job is just to make things. So as long as I'm interested in making things, everybody's going to be all right.
All right. And you always can go back. It's not like they're like, nah, they're not going to replace you or anything.
Oh, I mean, I don't know that I could be replaced, to be honest with you. Because none of them could be replaced.
Right.
To me.
But people do that. They try it. Like they say, okay, this person left. We got to keep it moving. She's not coming back. Let's see if we can keep the band together.
Yeah, well, here's the cool thing about my band is they're actually all great musicians and they have great ears. So whatever thing that they're going to get into, I know it's going to be dope because they're just like that. And I know my bass player is working on something with a singer from Alabama. It's actually dope. It's so dope. I'm for it. And I know the guitar player is working on something too that is also excellent. So I'm just supporting everybody being creative in their own way, just like they supported me when I said I had to go do this.
Well, thank you.
And you received
joining
11
us.
Grammy nominations, right?
Is it 11?
Yeah, 11.
Something like that.
It says 11.
Is it 11?
Nice.
11.
Do you care or need that kind of validation?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
To all the voting members of Grammy Academy, I love it. I love when you do it. Love when you do that thing.
That's good.
There you go.
Word.
Well, thank you, Brittany, for joining us.
Oh,
we
man,
appreciate
thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
It's Brittany Howard. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.